教就是为了像你一样提问题，然后
Good evening，大家好。
大家晚上好。
Happy New Year。
春节快乐。
We're so happy you're able to join with us for our CUGO webinar series.
非常感谢大家今天晚上来收听我们的线上网络研讨会。
My name is John Liu. I'm the head of university guidance at YCYW.
我叫 Coco， 我在上海耀中外籍子女学校普系校区担任职业与指导顾问。
Coco and I are very happy to be able to come tonight to share with you some strategies and some tips about to help your child and for students how to help yourself create the best applications when thinking about applying to Hong Kong.
非常高兴，今晚我们会为大家介绍如何申请香港地区大学的策略。
We have a special guest this evening, Mrs. Zorian Wong, who is the Senior Program Manager of Admissions at University of Hong Kong. And she's going to be coming to share about how to especially help what students especially can do to make successful applications to Hong Kong.
我们非常荣幸在今晚邀请到了黄雯女士，作为我们的特别嘉宾，为大家介绍如何打造凸显个人优势的申请材料，助力大家申请香港地区各个大学，尤其是香港大学的申请。
Thank you for all the students and parents who've registered for this webinar and who've submitted your questions to us.
非常感谢各位学生和家长的积极参与，非常感谢大家提出了非常多的问题。
We've summarized your questions and then shared them with Ms. Wong, and she's answered your questions, and we're excited to share them with you in a moment.
我们总结和提炼了各位家长和学生的宝贵的问题，并且将问题反馈给了黄雯女士。那么在接下来的会议当中，我们会收到她对大家问题的一个解答。
If during Ms. Zorian Wong's sharings you have any other further questions, feel free to add your questions in the chat function, whether in PolyV or WeChat.
在会议期间，如果大家有任何的问题，也欢迎大家在 WeChat 或者是 PolyU 的平台上提出问题。
We will either answer them on the chat or answer them in the live Q&A at the end of Ms. Wong's sharing.
我们会在会议期间通过微信以及 PolyU 的平台为大家去解答问题，也可能在会议结束之后线上直接回答大家的问题。
All right, now let's invite Ms. Wong to share her insights about applying to the University of Hong Kong.
那接下来我们欢迎黄雯女士为大家解答大家的问题。
Good afternoon, YCIS and YWIS, students and parents. Thank you for joining us again for our CUGO webinar series. We're very, very fortunate to have Zorian with us from HKU, Hong Kong University. Zorian, do you mind just introducing yourself to our community?
Well, thank you very much, John, for inviting me representing the University of Hong Kong. My name is Zorian Wong. I'm the Senior Program Manager of the Admissions Office under the registry. I've been here for just close to 1 year, but I've been in the industry with Hong Kong education, tertiary education for 15 years now. So pretty much I would say probably upside down of the whole Hong Kong tertiary education in general. So any question about Hong Kong U, about University of Hong Kong, I can help answer. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule and the real busy season as well to kind of speak with us. So we just thought, and just to let everyone know, again, thank you for entering your questions. And so we've taken your questions and we've organized them into about a set of 8 to 9 questions to share with Zorian. So Zorian, the first question is, can you just provide are there any updates or new programs that HKU is starting this year or planning to start next in the future? So just to let our community know a little bit more about what's in store.
Okay, maybe just a little bit background before we go into the new programs, new schools, and everything new, because Hong Kong U is the University of Hong Kong. We call it just Hong Kong U, okay. The Hong Kong U is a comprehensive and a research university, so pretty much all the programs that you expect from a bigger or big university, we do have. So pretty much like dentistry, medicine, architecture, art, social science, whatever. Okay, we have that. For 2025, we have 2 new schools. It was established in 2024, of course, but the programs are now available for you to apply to these 2 new schools. One of them is a School of Computing and Data Science. So we call them the SCDS, School of Computing and Data Science. Currently, they have 5 to 6 programs. It's not that they are providing all the new programs, but they are consolidating what used to be some of the programs under the Faculty of Science and the Faculty of Engineering. They put together into School of Computing and Data Science. These programs, of course, would include, as you can imagine, data sciences related, and we do have AI related programs and computing related programs, all consolidated or centralized into one new school. Because we do figure out AI or advanced technology it's generally become one of the essentials knowledge that all university students have to grasp. It's not like, I would just say, compared to maybe math, maybe language like English, it will become part of the Common Core, we call it, or general education. So it's kind of expanding, so to speak. So pretty much all the students in the future, you will have the chance to learn about AI, advanced technology as part of your mandatory programs or courses you need to take during the 4 years at Hong Kong U. That's why we have all these into a new school. That's the SCDS. But you can also check out, of course, they will be creating new programs along the line for AI and advanced technology. Because before, if you search for AI, we may not have a specific program that's all Bachelor of Engineering in Artificial Intelligence or Bachelor of Science in AI, because it's kind of scattered or integrated into different disciplines. We have AI or Humanities and Digital Technology, which is under the Faculty of Arts. We have Bachelor of Arts and Sciences, which some of the programs already have AI integrated into it. So it's not like we have an AI program specifically, but we do, since 6-7 years ago, believe AI is application. For different streams or different fields, you need to grasp AI to help you, to facilitate you how to do work better. So right now, all these are still there, but the more concentrated AI-related program will be now centralizedly administered by the new school, SCDS, School of Computing and Data Science. Do check it out. They do have very exciting program. And if you're not applying this year, make sure you check the website for they're really creating new programs. So that's the first one, that's the SCDS. The second one, I would say even more exciting. Actually, the program just got approved from our Senate last month. That's what I heard. It's the School of Innovation, or iSchool, or School of I. You know, we always have nicknames. It's the School of Innovation. By itself, the first thing that comes to my mind, what is it about? What do you mean by innovation? Do I study a program for innovation? If I'm innovative, do I have to study to be innovative? You know, that's what will come up in your mind. But this is what I would say this is a program, it's interdisciplinary. First of all, the school, currently they will have one program that would be a Bachelor of Science for innovation, whatever the name is. But it's targeted as students that if you are really into experiential learning, you have something already on your mind, you're very into creating things, you're hands-on into creating things, and you consider yourself very entrepreneurial, you consider yourself very innovative, you want to be, I don't know, Elon Musk in 5 years. This may be the program for you, because what happens in the 4 years for this program, no one is taking the same courses every year at the same time. It's project-led. It's based on the project that you have in mind. And And of course, you need to let us know, let the professors know what you have in mind. We discuss and we help to craft the courses that will fit what you like to create. So every year you will have a different project. We expect you to finish one project a year, at least 1 year, right? But what you are taking will be different from your classmate, so to speak, because you have different project yourself. The project it's initiated by yourself. So you will be learning different things. It's interdisciplinary because we cannot imagine how creative you are. So all the faculties, as you can imagine, it's like entrepreneurial, then it will be business school. It's experiential learning, it's AI, it's innovation, then technology, then engineering school, and SCDS definitely. Some may involve more like social science related, but still it's creative and technology related to humanities. Then you will be taking courses from business school, social science. So it's very, interrelated and interdisciplinary. It's very exciting, and I think it's very trending, if I may say. And if you are pretty puzzled, I can't find a program that really fits me because I don't know what exactly the program that suit me best. This may be the program. Check it out, the School of Innovation of Hong Kong U, okay, and see whether it fits you, because it will be tailor-made, their course structure, just to help you create your own project items and be the next most amazing innovator. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Actually, that's very cool. Going on your first comment about AI, actually our school has developed our own AI interface and really teaching our students, just like what you're doing at HKU, how to utilize it across multiple disciplines. And that the School of Innovation is incredible because it's taking, kind of what students do right now in high schools, the project-based model, and looking at project-centered and moving it into higher education. That's exciting. Really exciting.
We create a school, not a program for it. Then you can see how much emphasis and focus and resources we're putting into it. It's a school, so their whole foundation is different from just a single program under a single faculty. So that's how much we value innovation.
That's great. And I think that actually leads to my next question, which is, HKU is such a well-established school and have so many schools and programs. What type of student do you think would thrive at HKU? So from a counselor or from the parents or from the students that are in the audience, like which type of students would do best at HKU, and how can they start thinking about if HKU is the right choice for them?
First of all, I would just say if you believe or you would like to join Hong Kong U, by all means apply first. Don't think that, I may not be strong enough. Don't think like that. If you don't apply, you will never get the chance of getting admitted. And I'm not sure whether there's a quota for anything, because for, say, if you're in the national curriculum Gaokao stream, you have a limited quota or number of programs that you can apply to. If it's not the case, I will say just by all means apply to Hong Kong U, then give yourself a chance. Of course, academic will be one of the major deciding factors of when we review a student's caliber, because I won't say this is an easy school. We are, admit it, we are in Asia, we are in East Asia, right? So just like all the East Asian countries or regions, academic performance do take up a pretty important fraction of the whole reviewing process. And you can check out what we call the reference score or the expected lower boundary of different qualifications, including A levels, including IB, for different programs and different faculties. We're pretty transparent in that, but there's a range for it. Okay. If you don't fall into that, what we call the expected lower boundary, then you may think twice, but and you're far below, then, then that's up to you. But if you're within a reasonable range, then I say by all means, just apply. That's first. So academic performance would be important. We admit that, okay? Second, you have to be, Hong Kong U is very international. For 3 years, in 2021 to 2023, Hong Kong U was the most international university in the whole world from Times Higher Education. I find it a little bit amazing. Hong Kong, of course, is a very international, cosmopolitan, and English is widely spoken. It's well understood. Everything is taught in English, everything. But other than that, this is also a very international student body, especially for our undergraduate student community. There are now 17,000 roughly, the whole undergraduate student community. Our students are from over 100 nationalities. And I would say 30 to 40% of their undergraduate population are from outside Hong Kong. If parents have been paying attention to Hong Kong higher education news for the past year, then you will know the Hong Kong SAR government expanded the quota for non-Hong Kong students since February 2023, okay? And I won't go into detail what happens, but it just happens that the number of non-Hong Kong students in Hong Kong U can now admit it's doubled than the year before, okay? And for that, we have absolutely no problem filling in the quota. I can even tell you the quota for the non-local student Hong Kong U admits each cohort. For 2025, we admitted over 1,200. That's 1,200 non-Hong Kong students just for 2025. It's already over 40% of their, the allowed quota or cap by the Hong Kong government, which takes up like 30 to 40% of the whole first year, okay? And when the years, in the coming years with that 40% every year, then it will really be 40% of the students from outside Hong Kong. And even for the students that are originally Hong Kong permanent resident, many of them receive their education outside Hong Kong, but they just choose to come back to Hong Kong, just like many of our YCYW students. You're a Hong Kong permanent resident, but you're, studying in China or elsewhere, but you will come to Hong Kong. What it means is our student community or students are with very diverse background, educationally, culturally. So be ready that you will be, well, if you are already at YCYW, then you have a sense of what an international student body is like. But just imagine that's YCYW expanded, okay, into a 17,000 student community, and they're from over 100 nationalities. So be very open, be ready to be challenged, which is a good thing, because you've been receiving education, I just assume, for maybe 18 years, similar schools, similar cultural background. If you do have a very rich background, then that's fine, then you know what it's like. But if you've been in the same scenario or cultural background for 18 years, be prepared. There are many different things. The world is big, and be embracing. Be ready for internationalization. So that's, I think, the most important thing. And two will be, well, academically strong, very open, and ready to challenge yourself. Well, Hong Kong U, just like I mentioned at the very beginning, we're not an easy school. You will be, your classmates are academically strong as well. I won't say this is a very competitive environment. We're not competitive, not for academics, I would say. Students are here because they're exposed to so many opportunities provided by Hong Kong U, provided by the city itself. They like to grasp all the opportunities they have to utilize their 4 years at Hong Kong U, which means they are always here and there. The full schedule every day. If that gives you some kind of pressure, accept the fact that this is the norm here, I would say. Of course, you can sit back and relax, not doing anything. That's absolutely up to you. But many of the students they're just amazed by the opportunities provided and they like to utilize all their time, right? And if you are not used to that, then you may feel the pressure, okay? Academics may not be the most challenging part, I would say. It's just the DNA in this university that may be a little bit more, well, needing more time to getting used to, because everybody has been probably the top from their own school, their own country, and they're all gathered here. And yeah, you'll be surrounded by very talented people, and talented people are not sit back and relax type. So be prepared for that.
Thank you for that. Very, very helpful to kind of share about what the culture of the school like. And it's really good to hear about the internationalism of HKU. And you're absolutely right. You know, for our students in our community, they really do have a chance to just meet people from all over. You know, for myself, you know, I come from New York, and I think when I first, and I raised my kids go to YCIS as well. And when I go back to New York, I say that yes, in New York there's a lot of diversity, but in New York, when you meet students from different backgrounds, they're still trying to become Americans, right? Yes, they may be Chinese or Korean, but they need to become American. But in a school like YCIS and YWIS, you do meet students from Japan, Korea, all parts of the world, and they get a chance though to continue to maintain who they are and share who they are. And it sounds like that's the same kind of environment in Hong Kong. And so
exactly,
I think that's why I think traditionally why so many of our students have gone to HKU and thrive. Yeah. The culture fits.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, of which now, as we kind of maybe move into a little bit of the application details. So some of our students and parents are just wondering, for example, looking at the personal statement that the student writes, or for example, the activities that the students do during high school. Can you give some advice about, how students should think about that, how they should approach that, if they're thinking about applying to HKU?
First of all, we're not, well, if you students or counselors well, I'm pretty sure you will have good knowledge about Common App of the US system, which extracurricular takes up a very big part of the whole application or parts of the application form. We do have that part, extracurricular activities, but even if you leave it blank, it's absolutely fine. It's not like we expect you to have at least one. No, it's not like that. It's not part of their entry requirement of Hong Kong U. Okay? Extracurricular, first of all, is not a must. It's good if you have, because we like to know more about you. If you have absolutely no extracurricular, you just tell us what kind of person you are. Then you tell us why this and why that, okay? We don't have a role model of a Hong Kong U student. What I just mentioned when I answered the previous question, you don't see I picturing a figure that's very studious, very I don't know, but very embracing, very open-minded. It's not like these student has to be ultra active, engaging him or herself into so many different things. It's not like that. If you don't have that when you apply, you come here, you have all the opportunities to join those, okay? You come here as a blank sheet of paper, and you playing it during the 4 years of Hong Kong U, okay? We like to review, we like to review. When we review your application, we see it as a whole picture of you. So there will be the transcript part, we need you to provide 3 years of high school transcript, because we don't like to just receive your final score. Final score is part of the deciding factors, or that would really ultimately determine whether you will have scholarship or not, and just a parameter, one of them, okay? But then we also expect you to provide high school transcript from grade 10, depends on A-level, CBA, or IB. Anyway, current year, the year before, and the year before. So 3 years, because we like to know what happened in the past 3 years. Even if you are not previously at YCYW from another school, we like to have that year as well, because we like to know the whole study path of the 3 years. For good reason, we like to know more about you, okay? Second, it's personal statement. And then third, extracurricular. We need your reference from at least one from your school counselor. They're all helping us to know who you are. Now come back to extracurricular. First of all, let me stress, it's not a must. If you have it, good. But it's not like some kind of a competition will weight heavier than another competition. No. All these are taking into account how we see you as a person, whether you're a good fit for Hong Kong U, and by different faculties and different programs. They may have different considerations. So extracurricular, whatever it is, you consider relevant to your application, consider relevant, important to your person, individual, you let us know. Of course, parents will be asking a lot of questions. I would like to know what kind of extracurricular will wow the reviewer. I can't tell you. The wow factor may come from the personal statement, okay? And you never know one reviewer how to view one statement from another. So I won't say it's very subjective, but because this is a whole profile and we have more than just one reviewer for each application, then it becomes more objective, okay? Taking everything into account. If there is one winning image of a applicant, it will be someone that we see the potential academically good enough that will not have problem adapting to their study at Hong Kong U. As again, I mentioned, not a easy school. You'll be surrounded by very good student, academically strong student, first of all. Second, you need to be ready to be challenged, so to speak. You have to be ready, and we need to know that you are ready for, because you'll be leaving your parents. If you have not been living your parents before, you'll be here maybe just by yourself. You're the only one in Hong Kong. Your parents, your families are not here. A little bit of maturity there to make sure you will be fine here, okay? And ready for differences, embracing differences. All these, you cannot put that into your extracurricular. It's just when we review everything, then we have the sense whether the student would be a good fit for Hong Kong U. I'm not sure I'm being clear.
No, I think you're being clear about absolutely. Sounds like to me what you're saying is that students shouldn't stress that there is the number of activities, nor is there a right or best activity. And it's really, again, important for the students to convey academically that they are able to accept the challenge, or that are able to handle the challenges. And also you were saying about fit to the community and also the culture of the school, which maybe I can do a little bit of the follow-up then within the personal statement that the student has the chance to write, right? Because you mentioned it before. What advice would you give students about approaching the personal statement and crafting that personal statement?
I just heard last night, because I've been asking my more senior or more junior colleagues say, I'm supposed to answer the question how to write a winning personal statement tomorrow morning with John. Actually, there's no such a format, but everybody is saying, please don't use ChatGPT. I can't help it. Of course, you will be using it, but please try not to use it. And you can use it for correcting your grammar. But other than that, be a genuine. I'm going to say something that you will find it pretty cliche, but because there's no winning format there. Some of my colleagues were telling me they heard from maybe other applicants to Hong Kong U that what Hong Kong U is looking for. I'm saying, I'm really quoting what's been said out there, is be straightforward that why Hong Kong U, why this program. Of course, you can do that. I'm pretty sure you will be doing that anyway without me telling you. But other than that, again, it's just like extracurriculars. So you've been doing or you've not been doing something, tell us why and what you want to do. We just like to know more about you. Okay. I've kind of give you a picture of a student that's ready for differences, embracing different cultures, and ready for challenges, and ready to really challenge him or herself. That's the kind of student we're looking for, and see whether you can present that in your personal statement. And genuine story, don't make up story, because chances are if your program requires interview and the interviewee asks you a question, you need to be prepared to answer something that you've already written or provided on your application form. So don't just make up things that you don't know what that is, okay? Okay, you've joined some activities before, but then you maybe ChatGPT help you to make it even more attractive. But if that's not your true feeling about what you've done, and when the interviewer asks you, so you said that you have joined these activities, and you said that you were so impressed by that, and then you were there and have nothing to say, it's not helpful. So make sure everything you put down in the personal statement, you really meant it, okay? And you're prepared to answer any question related to your whole application, okay? Of course, why Hong Kong U? Why not the other universities? Why this program, which are also similarly provided by other universities, not just in Hong Kong, but in Asia? And if for your kind of academic caliber, you can choose to go whatever top universities globally, but why Hong Kong and why Hong Kong U? All these will help a little bit, but well, will help, but I won't say that's the only thing that you should write.
Yeah. That's great. One of the things actually when we work with our students on strategies for personal statements, actually, we do show them that what the difference between a ChatGPT essay and their authentic voices, and it's actually pretty clear. Students see it right away. Like ChatGPT becomes so generic, and we share with them, admissions officers like yourself see so many of these, and it's not that difficult actually to spot something that doesn't sound like a authentic.
Or a high school student.
Exactly. You mentioned the interview, and actually that's another one of the questions our students had. And thank you for sharing that. Of course, during the interview, professors will ask about the students' personal statement to expound.
They may.
But can you also share a little bit more about what maybe some of the formats of the interview may be? Because some of our students said that they've been in group formats of interviews and so forth. Can you just share a little bit more about the interview process at HKU?
First of all, not all the programs require interview, okay? So if you don't get an interview invitation, don't panic, don't freak out, okay? Not all the programs require interview, and if your classmate got invitation and you don't, it doesn't mean that you failed or anything. Don't panic, don't freak out. That's my first advice, okay? Second, there are all kinds of interview formats by different faculties. Some may even require group than individual. So every year is different. There are maybe more generic form will be you are invited to do a short video via a specific platform. So you will receive a link and you do a recording using your laptop camera, and they may ask you a question and you answer that maybe for 5 minutes or so. So that's the more generic form. You don't have anyone talking with you, interviewing you. But there are, of course, group interview. You're invited to join a Zoom section, likely. Not, well, if you're outside Hong Kong, that will be a online group interview. And they may give you a question, then you do some discussion, and the interviewer will just observe. They will not be leading or guiding you in any way. They just give you a question. And 5 or 6 or whatever number is, to discuss the topic, and the interviewer observe, okay? That will last maybe 20 to 30 minutes, depends. And their third kind will be individual interview, then maybe you versus 2 interviewer, then they do ask you question. Okay, sometimes you may need to go through twice. And for scholarship, most of 99% of the time requires interview. Okay, so it's a separate interview other than the admission interview. Okay, when we reviewing, first of all, entrance scholarship, you do not need to apply. You will be considered automatically. Some we might invite for scholarship interview, but again, it's not like everyone need to go through their scholarship interview. I just say some of them would need to be interviewed. Okay, so there are two kinds: admission interview, different faculties, a lot of different formats. Anytime from late November onwards, all the time now, are happening. And scholarship interview, I don't think we have started the full scholarship interview yet, but again, don't panic, don't freak out if you don't receive any kind of interview for scholarship or for admission, because student got in Hong Kong you without an interview before. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure I answered the question, or no? You want me to elaborate on some part? You're muted.
No, you've answered the question greatly. Thank you so much. Good. And it's just good for them to hear. And thank you for reiterating that message that not all programs ask for interviews. And like you said, don't freak out, because as you can imagine, students freak out when someone gets an interview with another faculty and they don't, and they come like, oh,
what happened? Can you ask Zorian what happened? Well, I can say, don't panic, don't freak out. Okay.
Exactly. So thank you for that. That I appreciate that. Another piece I wanted to add to share is that traditionally YCIS and YWIS, we had done the IB curriculum for our high school program for our YCIS schools, and for our YWIS schools we had A level. But starting for the next academic year, for our YCIS schools, for our YWIS schools, we're actually going to be introducing a new choice of a curriculum for our students, which is the HKDSE. And our school has decided that, because traditionally YCIS is a school where its flagship school, is from Hong Kong. And our school really appreciates that program. And we wanted to offer that as a choice for our students. And as you can imagine, Zorian, our families have lots of questions about this. And, we've been answering it in information sessions, but I really wanted to give a chance for you to share, your insights to our families. So I have a few questions. First is, can you just share from the HKU's perspective, if a student's applying with an HKDSE, how would they be evaluated within that process? Maybe a student that holds a Hong Kong ID, or a student that's not holding a Hong Kong ID.
First of all, if you are a Hong Kong permanent resident and you're taking HKDSE, then you need to apply through Hong Kong, the system that's called JUPAS. Okay, permanent Hong Kong resident taking DSE need to apply via the JUPAS platform or the system. Then it has nothing we can, it's an automatic system, just like UCAS. Okay, so you will have a bunch of options via the JUPAS of all the Hong Kong universities, to a quota of programs for you to choose from. Then it's a different set of system that's going on there. That's for Hong Kong permanent residents taking DSE. Make sure you check that out, okay? If you do not hold a Hong Kong permanent residency and you need to have a study visa to come Hong Kong and study for university, of course, but you're taking other than IB and or A level, but you're choosing HKDSE. For us, it's the same as A level, as IB, as SATAP, as other national curriculum. It's one of the curriculums we are reviewing for the non-Hong Kong students. There are like hundreds of different qualifications students hold, and HKDSE is one of them. So they're the same, okay? We haven't had that many Hong Kong student using HKDSE to apply to Hong Kong U before. So we cannot give you a reference score. You can check that out, however, we do have, again, we're very transparent on, even you go to Hong Kong U website, you press the apply button, go to international qualification, you choose Hong Kong, and you can find Hong Kong DSE there. That's apart from JUPAS, okay? That's for student that's not local Hong Kong student taking DSE. And all the programs will list out their minimum entrance requirement there. Then you can check out for your interested program, what the requirement is. The whole evaluation process, it's absolutely the same. The whole schedule, the timeline, it's absolutely the same with all the other like IB A-level, the same timeline, the same reviewing process. So no difference. They choose one. If they're applying to Hong Kong universities, institution in Hong Kong, they can only choose one pathway, JUPAS or non-JUPAS.
Right.
So even if they have, other than DSE, they're also doing 3 A-level subject, they cannot apply to both JUPAS and non-JUPAS. For
Right.
JUPAS, it's centrally coordinated by the government, the Education Bureau. But if you like to apply, outside the system and find yourself, believe that you're giving yourself a second or additional option, no, it doesn't happen that way. You can only choose one.
Yep.
JUPAS or non-JUPAS.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right. And I have another question here of parents that actually has to be related with language proficiency, because they know that for some of the programs in Hong Kong, it appears that they prefer students be able to speak Cantonese. For some of those majors, do you mind just elaborating a little bit more about what some of those programs may be to help our students kind of decide which programs are a best fit for them?
Okay. First of all, there are, I would say maybe 2 or 3 very competitive programs that used to predominantly preferring local Hong Kong student who speaks Cantonese. Okay, for obvious reason. But now the guidelines kind of relax a little bit. So non-Hong Kong student can also apply to this program. But the reason for this program that used to maybe 95 or even more percentage of the student admitted were, Hong Kong student who speak Cantonese for obvious reason. First, medicine, dentistry, education. Okay, but education, they don't really have that kind of very stringent requirement now. I can explain the reason why, and now I can tell you it's relaxed. So if you don't speak that when you apply during the application process, you still have the chance. But then, let me come back to that later. For medicine and dentistry, it's because we are nurturing doctors, surgeons, dentists for Hong Kong community. While at the university, everything is taught in English. We make sure your English proficiency will enable you to have absolutely no problem to go through the 5 or even 6 years of study here. For medicine, you need to spend 2 years at the local hospital for placement. Well, Hong Kong is an international city. English is one of the official languages, but the majority of the population are Canton people. I won't say all of them are fluent in English and to the speaking level that can communicate about their physique, their health problems so fluently in English. That's why medicine, for student applying for surgeon medicine MBBS program, it's more maybe prefer for students who speak fluent or understand Cantonese before. But there are, and currently I understand from the medical school is if you can, during the interview process, you demonstrate the ability that they believe you in 3 years after, because the placement happened in the 4th and the 5th year, you still have 3 years to help to master the language. As long as you can understand Mandarin and Cantonese, so not just Cantonese. Now Mandarin, Chinese in general, okay? So Chinese, Mandarin and Cantonese, you can understand and you can communicate in Mandarin, then you're fine, okay? Then you pass the language proficiency part. It's similar for dentistry and education, but then education will be even more loose because, of course, there are native English speaker who come Hong Kong and teach English, right? But yeah, so that's the 3 programs I can think about. They may used to have a language preference, but now it's relaxed a little bit.
Great. Thank you so much. And I guess my last question is, is there any piece of advice that you would give to students or parents as they're thinking about, applying to HKU in the future? I know you talked about the importance of understanding Hong Kong culture, but maybe even to our families and to our parents, like to help them, really help their children to think through this application process.
I would say, first of all, you check out the schedule and do apply by the main round. Usually the application opens in mid or late September, and for Hong Kong U, there are only 2 rounds, the main round and rolling admissions. So main round usually ends in mid or late November. Make sure you apply by main round, okay? Especially for the more competitive programs. If you miss the main round, you may just miss the whole thing, okay? And from rolling admissions on, which is for this year, is like 27th of November 2024, I don't think there are that many places left for the rolling admissions students. So apply by, that's my only advice, and it's very important. And do check your emails regularly and check the junk box and spam box, because I think parents are, monitoring the application process. Parents, please check your email, spam box, and junk box. For unknown reason, Hong Kong U admissions office or the faculty's email may, I don't know why, end up in the junk box or spam box, but make sure you check it regularly, or else you will be missing our reminder for you to submit additional information for clarification, for interview invitation, everything. We handle that a lot because, I missed the email. Make sure you check the email. Make sure you apply by the main round. Would be very practical advices I give to our parents here.
Zorian, thank you so much for just taking your time today and just sharing all of your insight and your knowledge. And, again, really great application advice for our students and our families, for being really just very clear about the type of culture HKU is, to help our families really think about, is the university the right fit for their children? Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much, John.
My pleasure. And hopefully we'll see each other soon.
Definitely. I'm coming. Okay, then. Bye-bye.
Welcome back, everyone. We hope that you really enjoyed that time with Zorian.
欢迎回来。
Thank you for putting in all those questions, and we're just going to have a chance to answer some of your questions now.
非常
So Coco and I will kind of answer questions. I'll take one, and then Coco will take one.
OK， 那我们将会轮流解答大家的问题。
那 Coco 你要先吗？
好的，
好吧。
那我这边先收到的一个问题是关于港大是否有开设激光射击这个专业。然后关于这个问题的话，我们就是会将这个问题先传给这个黄雯女士，然后我们收到具体的答案之后，再会反馈给提到问题的家长或者是学生。
Thank you for that. And then just to share with everyone, when we will send a recording of this whole session to you, and then we'll also send you Zorian's contact information so you can reach out to her.
对，我们是稍后在这个研讨会结束之后，我们会将会议的视频录屏发给大家，同时我们也会分享黄雯老师的联系方式。
And as we answer your questions right now, if you have any more other questions, please feel free to put it in the chat in PolyV or in chat on WeChat, whichever one you're watching.
对，如果大家还有什么问题，大家可以畅所欲言，在 PolyB 上或还有我们的 WeChat 平台上 提问。
So I'm going to answer the next question in English, since this came in English, and the question came actually about dentistry and what are the requirements applying to dentistry in University of Hong Kong. So if you kind of saw what Zorian was sharing about before, so one of the things about dentistry in Hong Kong, actually, and when it comes to the interview or the requirement of the schools, actually, you do need to be able to speak Mandarin, and also you need to be able to speak Cantonese. The reason is because the clients that you're going to be facing within Hong Kong are going to need those language requirements, right? So beyond whether it be your A-level, IB, or HKDSE requirements, you're going to be needing to make sure that you have fulfill those requirements. And those requirements usually is done through interview. Now, as far as your coursework, usually you're going to need to have you're going to need to be taking some aspects of advanced level mathematics, whether that be A-level, HKDSE, or within IB, and also in the sciences, most likely biology and chemistry within those subject courses. So those are the things that are important for you to take academically. Now, she also shared about your extracurricular activities. So as Zorian has shared before, there's no necessarily specific activities that you need to do for dentistry. However, if you have an opportunity to have an internship or volunteer at a dentistry clinic, we recommend that you do so, because in your personal statement, in your interview, they're going to ask you, why do you want to be in this major? Why do you want to pursue this? And you should be able to convey to them the why. So your volunteer experience, or let's say job shadow experience in a clinic, or anything that's related to health, dental health, will be important. Even if you can't get a internship in a clinic, in a dental clinic, you can work for any organization that's trying to support health issues in your neighborhood. That'll be really, really important. So students, if you're interested in dentistry, please do think about that. That is going to be important for you. Coco, why don't you take the next question?
我看到有家长还有学生问到耀中是否有港大的下校。港大是这样子的，它是有下校的。那在他们的官方的网站上是会公布他们的一些课程，下校具体的课程供学生去选择。那每年下校的报名时间大概也就是现在这个阶段。所以如果家长或是学生他有意向去参加下校的话，请大家一定要现在开始去关注。然后因为有一些课程它是 first come first serve， 就是你先到你先得，然后他的那个 seats 满了之后，你可能就没有办法报名成功了。所以就是建议大家去看一下他的 course 的话，每年就是可能会有一些变化，但是不同的每一个discipline 它都会有相关的课程，然后去供学生和家长去供学生来选择的。所以对大家一定要去关注一下官网上。
Thank you so much, Coco. I'll take the next question. We had another question about applying early. Are there benefits applying to the early round of HKU? Let me just be clear. If you're doing the HKDSE and you're doing the JUPAS program, there is no early round. So that's not for those students who are doing per se JUPAS. But if you're doing non-JUPAS, so usually that means you're non-permanent Hong Kong ID resident holder, then you'll be non-JUPAS, then there is an early round. So we always do recommend students to apply to the early round. The reason why that is because there are actually more spots that are open to students when applying to that early round. Students, of course, it is going to be important that you have to make sure that your scores and your grades are strong enough in that early round when they're being submitted. But yes, usually the number of slots are more in the early round. More importantly, you'll get your notification back a lot earlier. So you will be able to plan out your applications, your next steps to other places. So definitely does benefit you. So yes, if you have the choice to apply early, we recommend that you do apply early. Coco, why don't you take the next one?
我看到有家长在问，持有香港身份证，但不是永居身份证，读 IB 的学生是归入香港本地生源还是非香港生源这个问题。然后拿香港身份，然后在大陆地区 学习这个 IB 的同学的话，通常来说，香港它是有除了港大还有港中文、港科大，还有城市或者是 PolyU。那不同的学校对于这个可能分类会有稍微不一样。通常的话，可能是会算入non-JUPAS，
对，
就是作为国际生 international students。
对。The only way，刚才 Coco 讲的很对，就是你是要是有 permanent， 你是有那个 Hong Kong ID 或者是 PR 的话，然后你要是上 HKDSE 的课程的话，才是算是 JUPAS 的本地生。这是还有你要刚才也是就是说我们 Coco 老师讲的很对，你必须要看他的网站里，他们会写的很清楚，所以你要看不只是网站里，还有那个 JUPAS 里面，他们都会给你写的很清楚，你应该是你哪个才是算到是本地的 JUPAS。你刚才这个提出来的这个 case 的话，它是应该是 non-JUPAS， 因为你的 curriculum 是是 IB 或者是我们这边的不是 HKDSE 的话，就是算是 non-JUPAS。好，那I'll take the next question. Then I also have a JUPAS question here. I have a question from a family who's asking, so how can we actually learn about the JUPAS process and also about what are the JUPAS requirements? So generally, the requirements are generally the same year upon year. They are different based on major. So it's important actually for students to look at actually each school and what the kind of JUPAS scores and requirements are for each of the universities specifically. JUPAS, as kind of Zorian has shared, is very, very transparent. So they'll be telling you, for example, what are the scores that you need to get out of, and then also what are the exact courses that you need to take, and kind of what are the boundaries for each of the courses every year. You can find this information very clearly online. It really just depends on what major you're looking for. For any of our YCIS and YWIS students, we'll be your counselors, and I will be able to give you much more bespoke or individual advice based on what you're looking to apply to, and then looking at the data from years upon past. You have another? Yeah, go ahead.
关于看到有一位家长提问。港籍的学生用 A-level 申请和用 HKDSE 申请的成绩申请港大的话，香港大学哪一个概率更高？
I think 这个的话，我们两个 I don't think anyone will be able to answer that question because it really changes year upon year. 对不起，我应该说高哥，你帮我，对那你帮我，我怕我讲的不清楚，就是说这个的话，可能我们这个样的话，年到年是不一样。然后你要看你要是考哪一个课门。对不对？因为你的 HKDSE 和你的 IB 或 A level 的要求的课会不一样的，所以这个真的是要看你自己的孩子他想学什么，然后他学籍是怎么样。当然可以，当然 of course。
我想补充一下，其实不管是香港大学还是其他的学校，那么所有的他们的申请对于 A-level 课程，或者说 HKDSE， 或者是 IB， 或者是 AP 课程，还是说 Mainland China 的高考课程体系，那它其实都是接受的，没有说哪一个一定说可以申请，哪个不可以申请。那而且我们在刚才的线上的会议，其实黄老师他也提到，申请港大它是一个非常综合的、全面的一个评估过程。他会参考学生的成绩单包括他的最后的预估分，然后包括他这个申请的课程本身，他的一个他的这个录取的一个，比如说申请的学生的人数的多或者是少，然后再就是还会看学生的一些课外活动，也会看学生的文书，所以。我们不能说一定说这个学生是学 A level 的，他就一定是会比 HKDSE 的学生有优势。每一个课程只要学生足够的优秀，他都是有高的这种可能性和概率去申请到港大的。对。
Yeah, thank you for that. And then I have another question here that says, I think this is a student asked, what if the student is a Hong Kong resident holder, but who takes the IB and not the DSE, do they apply as non-JUPAS? Yes. So if you're a Hong Kong resident holder and you take the IB, you are most likely going to be considered non-JUPAS. So for a lot of our YCIS students, if you are from Hong Kong, we have many students from YCIS that are from Hong Kong. If you've applied to Hong Kong universities before, they applied with the IB, have been very successful, but they've always gone through the non-JUPAS track. Next question.
那我们最后刚才看到另外一位家长提问，就是孩子是中国大陆的身份，如果要上香港大学的话，是不是更适合IB 或者是 A level 课程？那关于这个问题的话，就是 Mainland China 的学生，这两个课程，首先第一都是可以申请港大的包括我们刚才提到其他的，比如说 AP 啊，或者是 HKDSE。然后再就是关于哪个可能更适合我会觉得就是这些课程在申请的时候都是接受的都是港大可以接受的。然后对于不同的课程，它具体会有不同的要求，因为不同的课程它是会有一些评估方面是会不太一样的。但我会提醒大家要注意的就是申请的时候要根据学生他申请具体的一个专业，不同的港大不同的 faculty， 它的不同的学院或不同的课程，它会有具体的一些要求，前置课程的要求。比如说 dentistry， 那它会比如说对生物化学会有要求。如果你要申请比如说计算机或者是一些data science 方面的课程，它可能会对数学高数A level 的话，比如说高数比如说 IB 的话，可能是数学的 AA 它会有 HL High Level 和Standard Level 的具体要求。所以大家一定要在比如说选课的时候你们在往上升，比如说升到 IB 课程或升到 A level 课程选课的时候，一定要注意如果你们有一个专业已经确定好想要学习什么专业，那么你们这个选课的时候一定要去官网去查好，那你要哪些课程是必须要选的。就是不要出现到后面要申请的时候发现我因为没有选择某个特定的前置课程而没有办法去申请某个专业。
我也得补充一下好不好？因为刚才 CUGO 老师说的没错，但是我再加一点，就是说家长你们要是选课程的话，最重要是看你孩子他是怎么样学习对合适他们，对不对？因为 IB A level 和 DSE 他们这个考试的方法说实话是有点不一样的，他们的课程的方法就是说也是不一样的。所以最好的话呢是先想到哪一个 curriculum 哪一个课程最 match我自己的孩子。然后呢因为刚才就是我们也听到那个 Zorian 讲过，对不对？就是说这些课程他们都会接受的，但最重要的话是 which curriculum your child gonna be most successful， 意思就是说哪个课程你的孩子会说是最棒对不起我的中文太差了OK 我还有又一个问题，我就用英文来 answer so a student asked, is there a major related to music at Hong Kong? Yes, actually Hong Kong University of Hong Kong has quite a robust music program, from like the traditional sorry I'm losing my words here the tradition like you just go and become a performing, oh my goodness, a conservatory, that's the word, from the traditional conservatory through whether it is through education of music. So yes, it's quite robust. Remember, University of Hong Kong is the oldest university in Hong Kong. They have quite a diverse range of majors. Okay, over to you, Coco. Any other questions that you have?
OK 我看到港籍的话用 A level 申请香港大学，港籍非港籍录取数量就是这个问题是这样子的其实黄雯老师刚才在我们的 webinar 里面也有提到过就是他每一年的这个录取的 quota 会有一些变化，那其中提到了对于非港籍学生的一个录取的数额。那其实香港政府在今年从去年开始其实是给到的这个 quota 就数额其实是有增加的那其实黄老师提到是增加了 double 就是翻倍， 那他也说到，对于港大的话，那year of 2025就是2025届的学生的数量大概是可以录取1200名非港籍的学生，所以怎么说呢？首先第一，非港籍学生的数目在 quota 是在增加的，然后港籍和非港籍相比的话，港籍的学生的quota数量应该我觉得还是会比非港籍要高一点。
对，会是高，对，
对，
当然，对对对
对，跟
对
国内的一些大学的概念有一点像，就是美国也会有这样一个概念，就是比如说中国的北大录取北京的人会比较多，上海的比如说复旦大学录取可能上海地区的生源比较多，美国的他们可能会每个州，因为他们有政府的一个数量，就像刚刚我们提到一个 quota， 它会有这样一个数量，所以对，大概就是这个问题的一个回答。港中文大学的具体要求可以去香港中文大学官网上，然后大家去 admissions， 英文它有中文和英文是可以切换的。入学的要求，如果是中文的话，大家就查一下入学要求。如果是英文，大家就查一下 admissions， 里面去看一下具体的可能会有，比如说语言的要求，托福和雅思，都是认可的。托福和雅思都是认可的，不是说只认可托福或者说只认可雅思。那香港有的学校甚至也认可多邻国。那具体的话，大家要去官网看一下，甚至有一些课程，有一些学校是可以认可，比如说你的英语，IB 学生选择了Language A， 就是 English A， 那么也就是说英语是母语的话，它也是认可这样的一个成绩，也就可以不用考雅思，就可以满足语言的要求。如果你的语言，港大是否需要考雅思？如果英语是非母语的话，英语不是母语的话，最好建议考雅思或者是托福，最好是有语言。或者大家官网去具体看一下，他们除了用雅思和托福，他们是否还接受其他的语言的一个形式，比如说刚刚提到多邻国，或者是Language A 英语的 English A 这样子来替代托福和雅思的语言的这个语言的要求。
当然就是你要是刚才这个家长问这个 language 说，你的孩子要是 HKDSE 的话，申请香港的大学的话，就不用 take IELTS 和托福，它会有它的 HKDSE 里面的英文课的分数的这个目标，这个要求，所以你要是考 HKDSE 的话，然后你是 Hong Kong permanent resident holder 的话，那你不用，那你就不需要你的 IELTS 和托福。好像我们再来，因为时间差不多到了，不好意思，家长，再来最后一个问题吧，好不好 ，CUGO？
来选一个，要不
你选吧，好吧，你问我，不知道我们可以 try to answer 的
，OK， 香港籍不在香港上的中学，以自修生的身份参加，大概意思是能否以自修生的身份参加 DSE 考试？
这个是很好的问题 ，actually，你要有这个问题的话，你可以 actually，你要是我们耀中和耀华的家长的话，你可以 contact 我们的 admissions office， 他们这个 answer 他们会知道的。你要不是我们耀中耀华的家长的话，我不知道这个是哪个家长，你可以通知我们的耀中耀华的那个 admissions office， 他们会这个样的问题，他们会应该是可以帮助你来 answer 这个问题，好吗？那我们就这样吧，因为时间到。So thank you everybody so much for all of your questions. We know we couldn't answer them all, but this is just the start.
OK， 非常感谢大家积极的提出问题，虽然没有解答所有的问题，但是我们也这是一个非常好的开始。那如果大家后续有任何问题，也是可以跟我们取得进一步的联系。
Absolutely. So remember, we will email you Zorian's email, so you can email her. And for all of our YCIS or YWIS families and students that are watching this webinar, remember, you have a CUGO at your school. Direct your questions to them. They will be able to answer, or they will reach out to all of us in our CUGO team across our schools to help you find an answer.
我们接下来会将这一次 会议的录屏，还有黄雯老师的联系方式分享给大家。然后呢，也欢迎大家，如果是我们 YCYW 学校的学生或者是家长，也欢迎大家有任何的问题，积极的和本校的 CUGO 老师联系，那么我们也会非常乐于帮大家去解决大家的问题。
Yeah. And especially again, for any of our parents, especially our parents or prospective parents thinking about questions about Hong Kong ID and JUPAS and not and whether they qualify for JUPAS, you can reach out actually to our admissions team. But also you can reach out to us directly because it's not very easy to answer this question without looking more details about your family's case. So we don't want to give any false information here that's not accurate. So the best is actually to reach out to us directly. We can look at what your case is and then we give you a more accurate response.
因为介于不同的学生的家庭的一个具体的情况的就是区别，所以就是关于港籍、非港籍，然后一些不同的课程，然后申请的优势这方面的一些问题，那我们我们没有办法说给到大家一个非常一刀切的这样的一个回答。我们非常欢迎家长和学生，那就是与我们取得联系，然后我们针对大家的一个具体的情况、具体的分析，给到大家答案。
Thank you so much, everyone, and have a wonderful rest of the year of the snake.
非常感谢大家参加今天晚上的会议，然后也希望大家在蛇年大吉大利。
Bye bye. Good night.
拜拜。